story, we traveled south to Colorado Springs. It's a city that's smaller than Denver, but still rich in its own history. And inside this building, one woman works to preserve a very special part of that history. One room.
This room itself, it's over 100 years old.
One woman.
I just took off.
One mission.
I reach out, and I've been reaching out.
Candace McKnight has been on that mission for a long time.
I guess it all started with me back in '97.
First interested in her own family tree, she branched out teaching African Americans genealogy.
Felt like it was my journey, that I had to do this.
Now, instead of telling the history of one family, she helps tell the history of an entire people.
When blacks first came here in the 1800s.
Some would call them the invisible people.
This book called Invisible People of the Pikes Peak region.
All of the stories find a home here.
We are the only black historical and genealogical society combined in the state of Colorado.
The old Buena Vista School
This was a classroom.
Is once again a place to learn about Colorado Springs' first black police officer.
Was Horace Shelby.
The nightclub owner who stood up to segregation.
Her motto was, what, everybody welcome?
And the man who infiltrated the Klan.
Matter of fact, I got his book.
For decades, Candace collected history until she had enough to fill up a room where everyone could see it.
We need to be represented in some type of way. Our history needs to be here to stay, not just passing through, but it needs to be here.
McKnight operates the small museum on an even smaller budget.
God only knows.
Most of what you see
I finally brought you a flag.
is donated.
Right here is one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, and this is Norvell Simpson, and he was kind enough to give us and donate us his uniform.
Giving and realizing how important it is to keep this door open.
It's a lot of good black history here in Colorado Springs, just taking out the time to get it down and to do it.
Because inside one room,
Yeah, it's small to have all this history in it.
there are so many stories.
We have over 2,000 black history books.
And one woman who makes sure those stories are preserved.
I feel that this is my calling. This is my calling.
With photojournalist Byron Reed. To Rhonda Thomas, 9 News.
Don Cheadle, actor extraordinaire, another product of East High School.
Don Cheadle is just one of the celebrities featured in a new edition of the Blair Caldwell African American Research Library and Museum. The display shines a light on African American stars who got their start in Denver. They all graduated from public high schools here, from actress Pam Grier to symphonic celebrity Charlie Burrell to a DJ who's worked with the likes of Beyonce, and some visitors are very surprised by one classic celebrity on the list.
We've had many people come and say, I had no idea that Hattie McDaniels went to East High School. That was amazing. When did that happen? So we kind of put a picture up there and put her main significant activities so that people could just get a snapshot.
A dozen stars are featured in the permanent exhibit. They include Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind & Fire and 5-time Grammy-winning jazz singer Diane Reeves. You can see it for yourself for free at the Blair Caldwell Library. That library is a treasure trove of African American history in Colorado. It's a rich story, and we're sharing some of those stories with you during Black History Month. You can look for those special stories with a local focus starting tomorrow and every Friday at 4 o'clock. And if you want to see more of the stars featured in that display, we've got a virtual tour on the Black History Month page on our website, 9news.com.
At schools across the country this month, students will likely hear some stories they've heard before. Stories of African American men and women who have made history. But what if those students thought about making that history themselves? We met a man who's helping to spread the message about the future of Black history.
Share your stuff.
Sure, he teaches, but he's not a teacher.
There are just more avenues that are available to you. So make sure you start to explore them.
Chet Sisk also knows a lot about history.
I will say this.
But he's quite the opposite of an historian.
I'm a social futurist.
A concept focused on looking at the possibilities, not just the past.
During Black History Month, we'll talk about Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, and those kinds of things. But the real key is, are we developing levels of vision? That is, Who are we going forward?
It's the question that's led to another way to look at the month of February.
There's this movement out in the country now, it's called Black Future Month.
And Sisk is part of that movement. As an inspirational speaker, life coach, and author, he travels around the world sharing the message that everyone has the opportunity to do great things.
Okay.
This is Above and Beyond.
Promo videos help spread the message of Black Future Month, sharing stories of African Americans who are doing great things now, letting kids know they can do it too.
It's about what kind of person do you want to be?
Comparing themselves to modern-day difference makers who are tangible and tweetable. People like astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, who links to another figure in Black history.
I would equate him with Malcolm X. And it may seem like a strange pairing, but what Malcolm X did was that he had this giant, bigger view of how the world operated, and he kept pushing that.
Pushing forward the achievements of those who made history.
We do stand on the shoulders of great people, but I would imagine those great people are asking, okay, what are you doing with that?
Maybe that's a question these students can answer, realizing their power to control their futures.
We're just saying, this is your future, and it's more than just what career are you going to go into, but more about what kind of person will you be going forward in a world that demands the greatest of you.
With photojournalist Byron Reed, Taronda Thomas, 9 News.